Nancy from Reset Equine here. So today is the actual 12-month anniversary from a bit of a dramatic date last year when I had a rather major horse riding accident, which most of you probably know about, and if you don't, well, I guess you know now. I was really lucky last year. The accident that I had could have been much worse. And there was many lucky parts of the process that it, I guess has me standing here so well today. And one of the most profound bits of information was, of course, that I was wearing a helmet, and it was a helmet which was an appropriate helmet for what I was doing. And it did its job. It broke and it came apart and has quite profound cracks and damage to it, and that was it doing its job. They are supposed to come apart rather than our skull coming apart. The other thing in the incredible turn of events that happened that I have very little memory of, I've lost about 16 hours, and I had about a 30-second memory recall for quite a long time throughout that period of me going to a hospital and spending time in 2 different emergency departments and then getting flown to a Royal Perth Trauma Unit. It was very vague, but one of the most incredible bits of information that came out of that, and the real strong message, was the fact that you can't control everything, and I was so lucky because one of the very few times that I was actually riding my horse very close to home, my husband happened to be there, and he was actually outside at the time and not very far from me when I actually had my fall, and was then rendered pretty useless, to be honest, and probably unconscious for a few moments, and then in quite a bad state of head trauma and also trauma to the rest of my body. Part of the reason why I am probably also this well in front of you all and able to be continued, work as well as I am and function as well as I am and be as healthy and athletic and strong as I am still is because of the fact that my husband was there. I ride my horse and I train horses, as we all do, many times, quite far from other humans, or not very far at all, but just not presently in front of them. And we often do it without telling people we're going for a ride, and we often do it without actually contacting them after, and people won't know for quite a long time if we are okay, if we've gone okay. The fortunate thing for me, when I had my accident, my husband would have noticed literally within moments that I had an accident. He looked up actually from what he was doing and realised that my horse Tybalt was standing there, and there was no rider on top, and I was on the ground face down beside him. And because he was able to attend me so quickly, because he was home, we lived at the time on a rural property down south, and it was one of the very infrequent times, probably less than 10% that he's actually at home or within a few hundred kilometres of me riding. One of the reasons why I'm so healthy was he was able to attend to me incredibly quickly and call an ambulance. I had facial fractures, I had quite profound concussion, I had done some major trauma to my shoulder, which was a suspected dislocation, and I'd lacerated my liver quite badly. It was a grade 4, so I just snuck in without needing surgery, but I was a well-behaved patient, stayed still, but it was quite serious. And because I didn't move around, and I was attended by someone very quickly, and didn't move around in my very confused state, which is fortunate, I was able to be cared for and given the appropriate treatment incredibly quickly. If it had been another time, I don't want to think about what the outcomes might have been if it had been any other time when I had ridden, in the hundreds and hundreds of times, thousands of times I've ridden without someone around, and particularly without someone around for hundreds of kilometres. And I might ride and not see someone for a couple of days, really. Particularly if I was down on our property as well. So I was really the ultimate story is I was incredibly lucky that my husband happened to be there at the time, and he was able to actually assist me pretty much straight away. So after my recovery, you know, I spent a fair bit of time in recovery, so I was thinking, that doesn't happen often, you know, that I'm actually riding when he's around. And, you know, we live independent adult lives, and I fit in working horses when I can, like all of us do. What am I going to do? Like, that really kind of, you know, made me think, you know, well, that was a lucky one-off situation. And I wasn't concerned about getting back in riding. I guess it's like, we're not worried about falling off, it's the landing that's the problem. But I suddenly became aware of the fact that I could possibly be quite badly injured. So I did some research, and previously I've had apps on my phone which have actually basically sent out an alert at the time that you might stop moving or you might pause in your activity. So they're obviously a GPS sensor, and they'll send out an alert to someone else to let them know that you've stopped moving basically during your ride. And I found some success for short periods of time, but on lots of testing, because I like to know that these things are actually going to work if I'm going to place trust in them. I found that they were problematic, and after a period of time the apps were outphased and the companies that were supporting them weren't using them anymore. So I did a bit more research, because I'm thinking this is really simple here. This has got to exist somewhere. It's just a motion sensor, and we just need to be able to sense when a person is having a problem, and then be able to tell someone, surely something exists somewhere. So I did a bit more research, and I actually came across a sensor which has been designed for cyclists. So for road and trail cyclists, when they are riding their bikes basically, and it actually is amazing technology. It was then purchased by another company and has been put into road racing. So we're talking about, you know, cars versus bitumen, bikes versus bitumen, bikes versus cars, unfortunately, falling off your bike at quite high speeds. And it was designed to go into the helmets that actually those cyclists wear. Not only is it designed to go into the helmets that they sell, this company has actually designed the sensor as a separate sensor you can buy, so you don't have to buy the helmet, which is very good for us horse riders, that you can put onto your helmet that isn't their produced helmet, that does exactly the same job that these sensors actually do. So I have purchased one of these, and I've actually tested it over the last year. This seems to be the only type of thing out there available of its capacity that exists in the world, as far as I can tell, to provide this sense of security and this really important, call in case of an emergency device, effectively. So it's called. So I'm telling you about it today because I think you should all have one, to be honest. So I now have one on the back of my helmet. And what this actually does, it's called an ANGi device. It's designed by specialists. I will give you the information. I'll pop once I work out how to do it on the video, I'll pop the website below. They are approximately 120, I think. I don't know, I could be really wrong with this, but they're really not very expensive in the scheme of things. Let me just have a quick look. Specialist ANGi device. So yeah, they're even cheaper than that. So the Specialist ANGi crash device is actually $75. That's US. So it will be cheap. It will be a bit more expensive in Australia, but in the scheme of things, that's an incredibly cheap device that you can have. So I've had this for a while. I've tested it I've tested it. It's actually really hard to replicate the specific type of sense that it picks up on to then alert people that you've had a fall. So here it is. It's on the back of my helmet. I've got a Troxel helmet here. It doesn't matter what type of helmet you have. This helmet is appropriate for what I need it to do, and also it's appropriate for the disciplines that I want to ride in as well. It fits my head and I want to wear it. So that's probably the most important thing. So this device basically just glues on the back of the helmet. You can see that green light's flashing there at the moment. That's actually that it's picked up that I'm moving and I'm doing things, so that's fantastic. And you see it's just glued back there. It's very light. You don't even know. You can't even pick up on it. It has a battery inside as well. So what this device does effectively, now the great thing about this device is that we're finding that in a lot of situations it was fairly poor response to the actual devices that sensed if someone had had a fall or an accident. They were sending off a lot of false positives, so they're letting people know that something had happened and nothing had actually happened. What this sensor actually does is it senses an impact, not just a fall or a stopping of movement. It senses an impact to your head that could actually have compromised your capacity to be able to help yourself. So it may have reduced your consciousness, so you might have been knocked out, or it might have actually just altered your consciousnness, or it may have actually caused a neck injury that you may be conscious through still. So it senses what type of an impact could have caused a situation to put you in, for you to be in a situation where you can't actually get help yourself. So it is specifically targeted to pick up on when you're helpless and get you help, which is exactly what we need. Now what it does is it does a countdown, and I'm going to go through this process basically in a follow-up video, and I'm going to show you how it works, but I'll also put a link to a video of a guy who's actually tested it for a cycling thing, so you know I'll put up lots of information for you to look into it. And what it does is it will, once it is actually Bluetooth to your phone, that's the website it's on, at specialized.com. It will have a Bluetooth link to your phone that is a very, very low power Bluetooth mode, which uses hardly any of your battery. It does require you to be riding in an area where there is mobile reception, but that covers a lot of people, to be honest. A lot of us ride in arenas even, you know, and no one's around. And this is the sort of thing that, you know, we know of dressage riders that have been found beside their horses, or event riders, and we have no idea what happened. And perhaps if they were found sooner, the outcomes could have been quite different. So anyway, so you need to have reception when you're using this. And what it actually does then is the Bluetooth connection between this device and your phone is a very low-grade Bluetooth. It uses hardly any battery at all. When this sensor senses that you may have been put into a situation where your consciousness or capacity to help yourself and get help has been compromised, it will actually start off an alert going on your phone. And it does it through the app basically, and you'll connect to your phone through the actual app comes with this. It doesn't need to be on all the time. It can just be in the background. It just does it basically. It'll start a countdown. It's very loud, which is brilliant because it's going to wake you up and give you the opportunity to also be aware if you've just fallen off and you're like, well, knocked myself out. I'm actually okay. Or, you know, branch fell on your head and you're okay. Or, whoops, you dropped your helmet. You feel a bit silly, you're actually okay. You can then stop it on here before it sends out the alert to other people. It also lets you choose how long the actual alert's going to go for, so if you want 15 seconds or up, basically. And I have it for the shortest period of time at the moment. I probably should adjust that. But I plan on looking after my helmet and my head, and then my body. So once the countdown has reached the end, so you haven't actually stopped it, or you haven't been able to stop it, it'll actually it will send out an SMS basically of your location. It says that you may have experienced an incident that is affecting your welfare at this location. So it will send your what do they call them? It's called emergency contacts. It will send them your location and say that you've potentially had an accident and that you might actually want to they might want to look into your welfare basically. It can do emails as well and SMSs. I have it set to both. So then once they've received that, they can contact you. There has been in the testing of this absolutely no false positives. They've got nothing. Every single time there has been an incident, it's done its job, and it's not done its job when there hasn't been an incident. So this is fantastic insurance. And you know what, in the scheme of things, look, if by chance something happens and your friends get an alert that something might have happened and you're okay, that's great. That's really good news. If something happens and they don't know and you needed help, that's never going to be good news, really. That's really unfortunate. So if it goes wrong and it alerts them anyway, it's pretty happy days. This is pretty good technology. It's very advanced, and this is great that we can actually access this. So on here I've got my husband's work phone and him as my emergency contacts. What it actually does too is it also sends him an alert when I'm starting a ride. So it will send him an email, says that Nancy started a ride basically. I can also say when I'm going to finish my ride, and if I don't log in or I don't basically notify them and say ride's finished, or log onto record where I can start my ride, if I don't stop my ride within that period of time, it's actually also going to send an alert that I've not logged in within the allocated period of time. So it's also useful information. So that is that. So how do you use this thing? All right. Well, what you do, once you've got it on the back of your helmet, you basically just pick it up and you move it around. And that little light says that it's going, hey, you know, I'm alive, I'm moving. It's time for me to basically be picking up on locations. So then what you do is you open up your app on your phone. Oh, by the way, when you actually purchase this, you get membership with it. So you don't need to pay any extra fees to actually have membership for this. I think it's for a year, and then after that it's like $10 for the whole year, which is brilliant. Again, it's really, really cheap insurance in the scheme of things. So once you've got it awake, little green lights flashing, there we go. You open up your app, and I'm going to show you some screenshots of this. And once you open up the app, you basically go to your gear section. So, and once you're in gear, your helmet will actually be showing up that it's communicating with your phone. So it's saying, oh, there's a positive link here, fantastic. So that's great. Then you go over to the record section, and that's when you can start recording your ride basically. So, all right, so let's run this through some testing. Let's see if I can actually set it off for you guys safely without damaging my helmet. All right, so I will also be showing this on another screen. So what we want to do is we've got the app open basically, and we've woken up the device and it's connected. That's right, it's not flashing green because it's already connected, so that's great. So I've opened up the app and I'm starting my ride basically. So my ride has started, so that's fantastic. What I'm going to do is pop that down there, and I'm going to try and hang on to my helmet really tightly, and let's do it with the helmet clips so we're not like flapping it around everywhere. So, as you can see, it's incredibly hard to get a false positive. If I didn't actually stop to cancel that, what that would have done is sent an alert to my husband, which I did actually warn him that I was doing this. It's a really, really good idea when you're testing things. And it would notify him of my location, basically. That's it for now. What I'm actually going to do is set it off again when he's home and get it to send to his phone. And then what we'll do is basically put up here, show you what it actually sends to your phone. Alright, that's enough for now. My arms are sore from all that flapping. Once you've got it and you've purchased this, there'll basically be instructions that you have to follow to link your emergency contacts in. It's really easy to do. It's not hard at all. You'll also be provided with a special a code. They'll send that through with it as well, and that basically says that so that's your individual code to authorize its communication with the app basically. So again, really cheap insurance and fantastic, really. This is the sort of thing that I would love to see all of my equestrian peers, all of my clients, all of my friends having these on their helmets. And I don't care if you ride in a rectangle all the time or you ride in a circle all the time. If you're riding a horse and you're ever riding a horse and you're, no one's watching you for half the ride, you really should consider getting one of these. It could save your life one day, and I'd love it if you all actually invest in getting one as well. So that's that.